Yeah, graduated. Well, I was doing it before too, but before OIART, but that's how I got into OIART was, hey, you got to go to OIART. My name is Ryan Tuer. We are here at SG Studios, or Scary Gnome Productions, which I am the owner and operator of. I've been in this business since, well, before 2000. I graduated OIART in 2000. The studio here is situated in southwest Middlesex, near a town called Wardsville in Ontario. So I work for Lon McQuaid as well, countless bands. We do animation, we do website design. Our main focus is music production, obviously, but film is a big part of it too. I can do anything that's related to media now. I do anything of video transfers from old tape, a vinyl transfer if we need to. Anything really to do with media is what we're trying to do here. As a young kid, I was into acting and music a lot. I had acted in the Stratford Festival at a very young age. The acting part was cool, but what actually really got me was the production, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I really loved the fact of seeing how something came to it and all the parts and everybody's hands they had to be in to make just this one thing, you know, become what it is. So that really inspired me to want to learn more, and I've always been one of those kids too where it's like, you know, my parents had to buy 6 or 7 different radios because I've taken them apart and tried to figure out why it was, you know, how it worked and stuff like that, or where's the magical man that's in that box making that sound, you know? So I've always been a person that's been curious on that kind of stuff. And then eventually when it was time, you know, I was finished high school, what's my next step? And Jay was like, well, why don't you go to OIART? And I said, okay, let me go check it out. And so I went and checked out, and from the first day seeing it, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. I got to get into this. Everything to do with electronics, I am confident pulling apart, you know, a $10,000 piece of gear, and I can do that confidently because of them. You know, I learn stuff from Jay and Alex, you know, every day. You know, hey man, I'm trying to figure this plug in, you know, what's going on with that? And, you know, Alex or Jay will be like, oh, you got to do this, you know, so, I mean, you're always learning. So I started in '99 and graduated in 2000. I think it's the best thing out there, for sure. And, you know, each day, you know, you're learning something new. And you're building on that thing that you learned. The next day you're learning that part, which built from that part that you learned the day before, which then you learn the next part. And it's like a building block and you keep going, right? And that's really what I think OIART has to offer that is definitely a step above many other things, because you're always just in it. I do have a few friends that, you know, never took any schooling in engineering, but I know that they took an extra, you know, 10 years of getting in the industry and learning over what I had to do. I will say too, I mean, the teachers were a big influence. Their knowledge is always something that I can always go back to, their inspiration, just the community too. Once you're part of this OIART community, the amount of people that I know I can talk to, reach out to, if I have a problem, I know I can get an answer back for sure. That's one of the biggest things about being part of the OIART family. Because of the smaller classes too, I mean, you really get to know each other. The biggest advantage I found with OIART is its full immersion in it. You don't have time to forget something that you've learned because you're using it every day. You're going from one to the next to the next to the next. You don't have a summer break. You don't have, you know, maybe a 2-year or 3-year course. You are fully immersed from beginning to end, and when you're done, you know, those things, even just the very basic stuff, is so ingrained in your head, it's not going away. It's a lot of hard work, but I guarantee you it's a lot of fun. So basically I have, in terms of analog cables run, I've got a box of 4 in every room in this studio. That goes right into the patch bay, so it's all just analog straight into that point. The original idea for this studio started probably about 12 years ago. So we started looking for a property because we needed a spot for horses. We needed a spot, you know, that's big enough to hold this. Plus we needed a house because, well, you gotta live somewhere. Yeah, it was about 4 years, and during that process was when I was getting the blueprints and designs done for the studio. And once we found the spot and we bought it, it took about 4 years. Major part is, of course, going through to get your licenses and stuff through the township, and the building took 1.5 years to actually construct. The actual inside here, like from everything that I know from friends, from building other studios, from knowledge I got from OIART, that was my least worry. That took us a very long time to do. This wood was actually from friends and family. They're all from a couple different people. We had to plane every single one of these boards and stain them ourselves. We had kind of a couple different ideas. I knew I always wanted kind of like a barn. I did actually have, my first design was that behind the big main room was going to be an entire walkway, which would hide all the cables, and you'd be able to get there to do any kind of, you never did change something like that. That never really came to fruition because it kind of took away a lot from the big floor, which I wanted the main room to have, or the grand room, if you will, to have a bigger space. But, you know, like the actual physical getting the thing built and getting the okay to, you know, like, okay, yeah, it's fine, you can build that now. You know, that was the stressful part. Of course, trying to tell them, like, yes, I need this to be on this weird angle, yes, but don't you want this straight? Like, do you want it, like, no, I do not want that to be straight at all. It is honestly there by design to be, you know, not perfect. I had to explain to them how many times that I need these double walled, I need airspace in between these walls, you know. Every single wall in here, there's no 90-degree angle. Even the ceiling is angled at about 4 to 5 inches. My favorite ones are sessions that really challenge you, that are difficult. It really pushes you forward. Any session too that's everybody's relaxed and everybody's grooving and just having fun, which is what this place is built for, is to relax, have fun. You know, I wanted to build a spot where you can come in, feel relaxed, maybe not even be worried about the recording part. You're just being in a creative environment. If you can walk into a studio and feel like you could sit down somewhere and just read a book and you're not worried about anything else, that's really what the feeling I was trying to go for with that. From day number 1 all the way till probably the day I die, OIART will be teaching me.